Welcome back, everybody. This is episode 3 in our playthrough of Crusader Kings 3, starting out as a fictional Earl of Warwickshire and working our way as far as we can go with it. So in the last episode, which if you didn't see, there's a link in the description below that'll take you back to episode 1 so you can get caught up. In the last episode, we gathered up for ourselves a claim on Northamptonshire, which we then were able to take. So that's kind of where we're picking up at this point. Now, something to note. At this time in English medieval history, and this is true for the Kingdom of England, and it's true for myself as well, the way inheritance works is I don't pass everything on to my eldest son automatically. That's not the kind of inheritance we have in Warwickshire. We actually have a system in England where the titles get split evenly among the children. And since I have 3 sons, that's going to become an issue because I don't even have 3 separate titles to pass on. I have 2. I'm the Earl of Warwickshire. I'm the Earl of Northamptonshire. So as it stands, those would probably be split. You can see the Bishopric of Coventry would go along with the Earldom of Warwickshire to my eldest son, Edward. My second son, Christopher, will get the Earldom of Northamptonshire, as well as the Bishopric of Peterborough. And nothing for Jacob, the youngest son. So that's kind of where things are. Somebody asked me about why the King of Aragon would make a marriage match with a lowly count like me. Well, honestly, right now, Aragon is just as large. Actually, it's a smaller territory than I have. He has the title of king. King Sancho Ramirez, my brother-in-law. It doesn't make him powerful. You can see Spain is split into multiple kingdoms. Castile, Leon, that's part of Castile there. The Kingdom of Navarre. We've got the Duchy of Barcelona. And then you've got these various Muslim kingdoms down below here. Seville, Aftasid, I don't even know how to pronounce that one, Amarid. So it's really not that big a deal. There's really only a few very powerful countries in Western Europe. You've got the Holy Roman Empire, we've got France, we've got Brittany, and that's kind of it. Going further east, we've got Poland, Hungary, Ruthenia, and a bunch of Novgorod. You got a bunch of smaller chiefdoms and principalities over here in Russia. We've got Sweden and Norway that are pretty powerful. The Byzantine Empire, the Seljuk Turks over here. And then, everything's kind of really divided up. It's a fascinating time in world history. So let's dive into today's episode. One of the things I'm going to do right now is I'm going to look at building in Northamptonshire. Northamptonshire only has an income right now of 0.2 per month. So by adding a building there, we would actually double the income in that territory. So I'm going to go ahead and add some farms and fields. It's going to take 21 months. Actually, this will add 0.5. That will significantly increase, much more than just double. So we're going to go ahead and add that. 0.5 a month will be added to our income. That's a significant increase. What's going on over here? We've got an invasion happening in Ireland. Looks like some nobles in Britain are trying to take some territory in Ireland. Greetings, Earl Edward of Warwickshire. In a few days' time, my lecherous cousin, Duke Guspatrick, will travel through Northamptonshire. If you orchestrate an ambush and capture him, I will reward you generously. If you accept my offer, you will get half of the money now, and the other half when you turn him over. So this is from King Malcolm of Scotland. Fascinating. I know the perfect place for an ambush. He'll give me 85 gold now, and then I have a 55% chance. It says do this, but then warn him in secret. The deal sounds too dangerous. No, let's do it. Duke Gospatrick was slain in the ambush. Oh boy. I didn't even consider that was a possibility, and that's a real problem because I don't want the King of Scotland coming down on me angry because I killed him in the attempt. Oof. I'm guessing I'm not getting the other half of the money. So I'm going to educate my own child, my second child, Christopher, because I've got better stats than most of the people that are possibilities for educating him, so I'm going to go ahead and do it myself. He's curious. He's got a +1 to diplomacy, +1 to learning. Let's take a look at our eldest son, Edward, who is currently rowdy, which we talked about in the last episode. He's being raised by my wife, actually. And you can see his stats are decent. Not real great in diplomacy or learning so far, or prowess, but all of that's going to increase as he gets older. And then we've got our youngest, Jacob. He's really not in a position to be trained yet. I do want to think as well about a spouse for my eldest son. Oh, he's already betrothed, that's right. Let's think about one for the second son then. I want to look at alliance power. So we've got some French folks. Maybe we want to try and look for... somebody suggested, and I think it's a good idea, to maybe look for like the House of Wessex. Even though they're not in control anymore, they're probably still in existence. It might be good to marry into that house and maybe inherit some of their claims on the throne of England. And at some point, way, way, way down the road, and it may be a few generations from now, it would be nice to be in a powerful enough position to be able to return England to Anglo-Saxon rule. But that's thinking way ahead in the future. So I'm looking now at the people who have claims on the Kingdom of England. You can see the King of Denmark. You can see the Prince of England. That's William's son, a couple of William's sons. And down here, we've got Countess Margaret, Edward's daughter, of Staffordshire, which is actually real close to where I am, of the House of Wessex. So she must be the head of the House of Wessex. So how do we... She's an insane atheist who's 31 years old. How do I get myself in on good terms with her? She does have children. So Duncan... Oh, they're actually of the House of Dunkeld, which is from Scotland. So even though she's the head of the House of Wessex, who's the heir to the head of that house, I wonder? Interesting. So here are all the remaining members of the House of Wessex. So I would guess that this guy here would inherit the House of Wessex upon her death. I don't know how that works. I guess we're going to have to find out. We're going to have to keep an eye on that. A stranger is brought before me. She has been waiting outside the castle gates for a week, my liege, the guard informs me. The woman bows deeply. Her name is Zipporah, which was, I think that was that Moses' sister's name or wife's name? I can't remember. It's a biblical thing. Your Highness, I have traveled far and wide and seen many things, but I'm weary of the road. If you allow me to stay, I'll happily share my knowledge of the world with you. Embrace God, and this will be your home. She will become my courtier. So, yeah, she's got some really good stats. All right, let's take a look at the court for a minute. We need a physician. Let's start looking for a court physician. Let's invite some knights, which we haven't done for quite a while. I don't have enough. Oh, yeah, I do. I have enough prestige to do that. Let's get some more knights. Anyway, now let's look at the council. So 19, 9, 11. Okay, so chancellor. Can I make a woman chancellor? No, I didn't think so. I can make her spy master, though. She's 17 in intrigue. But she's also 14 in learning. She's 13 in martial diplomacy and stewardship. But I doubt I can make her any of those things. Let's see. Steward? No. So the women can only have certain titles and not any of the ones that I really need her to have. This world is full of dangers, even to an earl and his court. As per my request, my servants have inquired after recommendations, and now they've assembled a few options to choose from. So we have Athela. We would have to pay 50 to get a court physician. She's quite experienced. Gerardo seems enthusiastic. I don't know if my personal doctor, if enthusiastic is the number one qualification that I'm after. But that said, I don't want to spend 50 gold. So we'll go with the enthusiastic guy. Not the best choice, but he is the budget-conscious choice. So Garrick has heeded my summons and has arrived at my court as a guest. Is that somebody that we're going after as a knight? Let's take a look at... Oh, we've got some decisions here. We did invite knights already. we could call for a hunt. We haven't done that for a while. Let's have a hunt. It'll cost... Oh, no, that just reduces stress. It ain't worth it. I don't have any stress. Alright, let's chill for now. So looking at my knights now, I have a couple of options of people I can recruit to court. They'll gain 50 opinion of me. I'll have to pay them. But I would really like to have all 6 knight positions filled. So there we have. Now we have 6 out of 6 knights. That'll help me if I do go into battle. And we finally are building our military back up. The pretentious King William of England, his vassals, and his whole family have heeded the call of Albion and embraced English culture. Really? So we are Norman no more. All right, so let's take a look at that for a second. So William the Conqueror, the House of Normandy. Let's pause for a second. So he now shows as English. So that's cool. I mean, it's still not Anglo-Saxon, but it's not Norman either. So he's embracing. You know, it's actually kind of interesting. There was a long period of hundreds of years where the English kings did not speak English. They spoke French in the court. And even in their private correspondence. It was only, I think, in the 1300s. Might have even been the 1400s. I'm starting to think maybe it was Henry IV, but I'll have to look that up. A knight has arrived. We've recruited these guests to our court. So we've got 6 knights now. I mean, there's nothing I need my military for at the moment, but at some point I may. My wife is bearing my child. Let's hope it's a girl this time. We've got enough boys already. The next generation is going to have some nightmares with it, with these brothers. And yes, it was, in fact, Henry IV, who was the first English king for whom English was his first language. So all those other guys, Edward I, Edward II, Edward III, people we see throughout history, they spoke French as their primary language. It was a pretty normal thing for them. So Henry IV usurped the throne from Richard II, his cousin, and actually it was the events that Henry IV taking over that eventually, a couple of generations later, leads to the Wars of the Roses. Catholicism fervor increased by 10. The Prince Bishop Alvard gained 250 piety. Good for him. Taking a look at our realm screen for just a minute. There's one of the things you'll notice when you play this game is there's just so much information available to you. In this case, Crown Authority determines what you're able to do. The higher the Crown Authority, the more things you can do. And so right now I have limited Crown Authority. Actually, I have autonomous vassals, which is the current law. So we could go to limited Crown Authority, in which case titles can be revoked, vassals can be retracted. It costs 115 prestige to do that, which I can afford, but I'm a little concerned about doing that now because of the level of control in my new territory of Northamptonshire. It's only 38%. Once we gain more control there, which we're working on right now, once we gain more control there, I'll feel better about changing the law. I'll feel better about the possibility of revolts and things of that nature. We are part of the de jure Duchy of Mercia, which doesn't really exist because it's part of the Duchy of Northumbria. We've got this one particular vassal who is, what is he? He's the head of the borough of Kettering, which is just a small territory within my county of Northamptonshire. So that's something we have to keep an eye on. And then our succession law, which is what I want to change at some point. I don't know if I'm able to do that just yet. I want to change my succession law to primogeniture, but I don't have high crown authority, which is what I need to be able to do that. And I think you can only change that so often. Oh, and Anglo-Saxon culture does not have primogeniture, so it's not even an option for me under my current culture. So, all right, so that is no good. Not even an option for us right now, but I will go for limited crown authority once we get control up in Northamptonshire a little bit. Ahead of another feast in honor of my liege, Duke Morcar, Earl Wulfstan pays me a visit. Neither of us are in the Duke's best graces, he points out. But if we were to provide a spectacular show at the feast, we might improve our standing with him. All right. I'll provide the gold for this venture. 50 gold. Oof. I can find entertainers. That's 150 prestige. That might be better off. I think I better focus on the small things. I gain improved impressions for 5 years. I think we'll do that. I'm not going to spend lavishly for a better relationship with my liege. I'm not too worried about that really right now. I'm at +10 with him. As long as I'm not crazy negative, I'm really not worried. Ah, daughter at last! Thank God. All right. So we're going to go with another good, more modern English name, Elizabeth. Yeah, may you grow to be strong and wise, my daughter. All right, cool. Let's take a look here. Jacob's still 3, Christopher's 6. Let's look at Edward here. 5, 5, 5, 8. He's going to have high intrigue skill as he gets older. And 4. To my liege, I have been hosting your chancellor for some time now. The way he imposes himself on my home, all the while encouraging no less than groveling servitude to you, disgusts me. What lord would send such a terrible representative? So this is the rather powerful guy that I've got within my kingdom that runs, or within my realm, that runs the borough of Kettering, that we've had to keep our eye on because he doesn't have a seat on the council, which is hurting his view of me at the moment. What have you done? Oh, and now his opinion of me is going to go down to, is it negative 70 at this point? It is negative 70. That's a major problem. So he is 12 in martial skill, so we could negate things somewhat if we put him on the council as our marshal, which we have a guy that's 15 right now. Is he good in anything else? No, he is not. You know what? Honestly, I have a better idea. It's time to think about other options with this guy. We could attempt to imprison him. We could attempt to murder him. I feel like imprison might not be successful. We have a 34% chance. And this will be an act of tyranny causing all subjects to lose 5 opinion. Let's see. What about the murder option? Not a real good chance unless we can get some other people on our side. All right, so what do we say we try to sway him? We can increase it by 25 and we've got an 86% chance. Let's do that. I guess we'll go the diplomatic route for now. Our crop fields were constructed in Northampton, so now you can see that what was once a 0.2 tax amount that was coming in monthly, now it's up to 0.8. So that's a big difference, and that's gonna help us increase our funds a little faster. All right, another stewardship perk available. Divided attention. That actually gives us a higher domain limit, which doesn't really matter right now. But now we're about to be able to unlock the trait Architect, which is going to reduce the cost and time of holdings and buildings, which is what I've been after for a while now. Maybe I should have waited to build those fields in Warwickshire until I got that perk. So looking at my guy now, I'm 37 years old. My wife is 30. I don't know how many more children we will have, but we're doing all right. We've got a girl now. Let's take a look at possible spouses. We can wait for now because honestly, we don't need to be betrothing a 0-year-old to an old man when a lot of people could become available then that are not now. Christopher's 10 years old, or Edward's 10 years old, my eventual heir. His betrothed is also 10. I want to look at her stats because they don't seem to be all that good. I'm starting to think about breaking that in favor of somebody who's going to give better stats for the next generation. All right, it worked. Reeve Eldhun has been swayed. He's gained 25 opinion of me. So that makes it a little less bad, I guess. He's still a powerful vassal who has a negative 29 opinion of me. And he thinks that our chancellor is incompetent, which is one of the things that's hurting us right now. but that's gaining 6 per year. So every year that's going to come down further and further and further. And other than the fact that he wants a seat on the council, we're actually getting along with him pretty well at the moment. I wonder if it's possible to sway him again. Oh, what's happening here? We cannot sway him again. So war has been declared on our liege. He's been attacked by... Oh, it's a peasant revolt. I have a feeling he'll be able to put that down pretty easily. William's got a pretty massive army he can call. It's about 5,000 men. So he's not going to have any trouble with this. The Battle of London. A little close to home there, William. And now they're raising up over there. Not a problem. So I'm going to see if my third son might be able to be swayed into a life in the church that might remove some of the issues of potential conflict between brothers down the road. So I'm going to ask the current suffragan bishop if he will make my son Jacob his ward. So let's see if that's a possibility. We're not going to change him to that culture, but let's see what happens. Might be a good first step in dedicating his life to the church. I've got 100 gold now. I'm gaining 2.2. Liege goes to war. Duke Morcar has declared war on Earl Frary. What is this war over exactly? Northumbrian war for Earl Wolf stands claim on the earldom of Gloucestershire. So right here, Gloucester. That's actually an area that borders my territory. It's something I'd like to have personally. But what I need to be thinking about are the territories that become a part of the Duchy of Mercia, with the eventual idea of being able for one of my generations to claim the Duchy of Mercia. But I'm going to try to stay out of intentionally sending my my chancellor to fabricate claims. If those things happen on their own, they will. As I near son Christopher's chambers, I hear a horrifying scream, barely human and full of pain. I burst into the room only to find Christopher collapsed in a heap on the floor, covered in blood. Oh, it's a stupid doctor. The brooding physician is standing in the corner of the room, anxiously wringing his hands. All right. Is this the guy that I brought in as the doctor? Chastised physician for 5 years. Christopher has botched diseased treatment, and he's going to gain the trait one-legged. Oh my gosh. That's going to happen regardless. Wow. Ugh. Yeah, we'll go chastised physician. I can't believe I brought in that stupid doctor only to have him cost my son a leg. In the meantime, the bishop is going to train my son, so that's good. And he's charming and spindly, so that's kind of interesting. Poor Christopher. Oh, he looks brutal. He's 9 years old now, and he's one-legged. He's also wounded, and he's ill at the moment. Oh, boy, that sucks. So it looks like we have once again swayed the Reeve. He's now a +9. That's cool. And our liege won the war, so he's expanded his territory. And you know, at some point, he's going to become a real threat to the King of England. Because this territory is pretty massive. Let's just take a look at that for a second. The Duchy of Northumbria. Look at the size of the Duchy of Northumbria. It makes up better than half of England. My goodness. While I was at the market with Christopher, his attention was caught by a criminal chained in the pillory. When the man begged for water, Christopher immediately promised to bring it and soon returned from a nearby well, letting the criminal drink from his cupped hands. That's cool. You know, for a kid who's been through what this kid has just been through, to show that kind of compassion to a criminal is worthy, and I like that. I'm gonna, yeah, definitely allow him to have that trait, compassion. I like that. So let's take a look at Warwickshire for a minute now. New duchy buildings would be nice, but I'm not close enough yet. I need 225 for those. Blacksmiths would increase the power of my soldiers. So would jousting grounds. Royal armories would give me a 20% increase in my levy size. These are all helpful things, but the immediate need here, 112 gold, gives me another 0.5. And as you can see, that's a big chunk. So I feel like that's the way to go. We're kind of building the infrastructure for the future. Because remember, it's 1080. We are 14 years into this game. We've got hundreds of years to go. So the things I do now are going to matter to my great-great-great-grandkids and make a big difference for them. So I have to think like that. As an additional payment in a recent trade, I find myself in possession of a large herd of cattle. I've been assured that the animals are of the highest quality, but the question of what should be done with them remains. Warwickshire will prosper from the herd. It's beautiful, but could be larger. The hides will turn a nice profit. Let's infrastructure. Let's let Warwickshire prosper from the herd. So we're going to wrap it up right there. Pretty quiet episode as far as nothing, no major wars or anything like that, but definitely building for the future. We're investing. We're increasing the wealth of our territories. That's going to benefit my son Edward someday, who's now 12. So it's possible that by the next episode, he could be old enough to marry. We're also continuing to improve control in our realm. 76% in Northamptonshire, 78% in the Earldom of Warwickshire. We may be at a place where we're ready to pass limited crown authority, so that may be something we do next episode. But let me know your thoughts about what I have done, about what I should do moving forward, and we will be back tomorrow with another episode. Don't forget to hit that like button on your way out. Thanks for watching.